All right, so I had heard this thing a while back, this a few months back, of this great analogy that has to do with family and family members who are in addiction or they're alcoholic, whatever the case may be. And this analogy has to do with them and their family. And it's like if you picture a pond, like just picture a lake at mountains all around, woods all around, but you picture the still lake. And if you picture a rock being dropped into the middle of that lake, the alcoholic is the rock. Okay. And as they sink to the bottom, it's all they see is them traveling through the water. But what they don't see is the ripples going across the surface of the water, and that the ripples represent the family.
Yeah.
How's that? Does that make sense?
It's a pretty good analogy.
So I'm Jeff, and I'm an alcoholic, and I have 2 years and almost 3 months of sobriety. And I drank heavily for 25 years, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to do a video on an alcoholic and their family. This is my son. So this is why I wanted us to do this video, is to help somebody else out there, because I know it's an epidemic.
Oh yeah. So I'm Devin, my dad, and I've never drank ever.
It blows me away.
Never
Totally blows me away.
Never done anything, not even nicotine, and no drugs, no alcohol, and there's kind of been a lot that's played into that decision, and I'm sure we're going to get into that.
We'll probably get into that, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, what was life like before my sobriety for you?
It was a lot of uncertainty. There was definitely in the later years there. It was one of those things where I never knew if I was going to get a call that like you passed away or something, or because you're in and out of the hospital a bunch of times. I remember waking up one morning, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and you're having seizures, and it was just that kind of was like the start of being in and out of the hospital. So it was a lot of uncertainty at the end. When I was younger, I always felt like I never knew if I could come to you with anything, because I didn't know if I was getting a real answer or just something off the wall. I never knew how much to actually like believe, I guess, because I never knew if you're drunk or sober. But looking back, I realized most of the time you were drunk.
And this is, now we've, just so everybody knows, probably 6 months. I'm in recovery, and I'm in recovery every day. So I mean, I went to Devin. Devin was one of the first ones that I made amends to after getting sober. But it was, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. But this is still very much healing for both of us. This 2 years later, this is very healing for both of us, because I'm sure I'm going to find out things today that I didn't know, because the amends process wasn't really about that. But so on that note, did you see me? All right, so some brief background. I drank for 25 years, solid, hardcore vodka drinker. Okay, so you're 24.
Yes.
So I started just a year before he was born. I'm 57 right now. And but I was a hardcore drinker, but I really turned it up after you became a teenager. You're in your teens when I really turned it up. So from your perspective, how did you see me as somebody who was like, could you tell I was drinking?
Oh yeah.
Because I would the alcoholic mind is thinking, I'm hiding it from everybody and nobody can really tell because I didn't want everybody to know if I was drinking or not.
When I was especially like 16, 17, 18, you would say you're not drinking, and it was very obvious to me.
Yeah.
Because I've seen you go back and forth so many times that the very first day you started back drinking, it was so obvious to me. Like, I didn't have to be told by anybody. I didn't have to see a bottle or something. It was
just tell by the
so
tone,
obvious.
The tone, the volume of your voice, or how much you talk. Because I'm not a huge talker, but
it took you like a year, or maybe not that long, but like 6 months to a year after being sober to get your personality back. I mean, it took a long time for you to actually get, lively again, because, it was when you were drunk, you were very lively, very opinionated. And you weren't really afraid of saying what you just wanted to say at that time. But every time you got sober for a month or whatever, it was very, very different. Because, as well as everybody else does, your first little bit of sobriety, it's a everyday struggle.
Right. And I did it so many times.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a relapse, because a relapse means that you were actually doing something, So I basically just stopped and started.
Yeah. Constantly.
A bunch of times.
It's like you had a toxic relationship with alcohol.
Yeah, that plus I didn't want to piss your mom off, because Devin's mom was gone a lot, out away from traveling, and then come back and I didn't want her to see. I was hiding everything, so I didn't want her to. So I would stop and start a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what you're referring to. During those times.
It was always so funny. I can laugh about now, but there would be so many times where you would say you're sober. And like there's one time in here once you were saying you were sober, and I'm sitting over behind the desk over there, and I look behind this trash can, and there's some alcohol right behind the trash can.
That was just a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there.
We've been in this house 5 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was.
I was sitting over there, and you're sober. I'm like, he's not sober. I know he's not sober. And I look back behind the desk, and I see a ball of alcohol. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Oh, tell the story. We got to tell the story. So I had this big truck 5 years ago, and I had I was a bad alcoholic. Okay, so. Anyway, I drank and drove every day. And that's what it is. I depended on alcohol at the end. Well, at the end, at the end, 10 years, the last 10 years. But so tell about the story about you borrowing my truck.
Yeah.
That I didn't find out till about 6 months ago.
So this was when you're in the hospital. And I was driving your truck because you're in the hospital for so long. I was like, well, I'm going to drive his truck and, clean it up for you. And whatever.
With cirrhosis.
Yeah. And, I didn't know how long you're going to be in there. I didn't know when you're coming out. So I come up here. I'm like, I'm going to drive his truck around, just keep it running and make sure the battery doesn't die. I'll wash it and clean the inside, whatever. Try and be nice. And as I'm cleaning the inside, I just find, I don't even know, like 10 to 20 bottles of the little vodka bottles.
Yeah.
And it was just like an unbelievable amount just under the seat.
The minis.
Yeah. And
Again, hiding. You get the smaller bottles because you can pocket them, and
yeah, and it was I don't know, it was just, I knew it, but it's just always a little shocking when you see that many. Like, I knew you were going through that many. It's just like when you see that much in a small area like that. It's
in a car that you're driving. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I mean, what kind of example was that?
yeah.
It's
I
it was terrible, terrible example. I mean, I don't find. I just laughed when I said, "Remember, but that wasn't funny.
yeah.
That's not funny
Well,
at
it's
all."
funny to look back at it
Yeah.
with how, because you can see, the you're not drunk now. It wouldn't be funny if you were still drinking.
Yeah.
But to be able to look back and be like, man, I was just so bad.
We have a saying that we have 1,000 sayings, but one of them is that our darkest past experiences are our greatest assets today because we can use that to help other people.
Yeah.
Because we've been there.
Yeah.
But so I guess what I was trying to get at earlier is that just because I'm not stumbling around or beating on people, when we think, us alcoholics, when we think that nobody can tell, you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So
It
all the
was-
moms and dads out there that thinking they're hiding it, the kids know.
Yeah.
They can,
I think I could tell easily the difference when I was, I think, starting around 12 or 13. I think I could easily point out the difference.
did I embarrass you around like friends? Did you feel embarrassment or fear? What kind of emotions did you?
There's a particular thing that sticks into my head when I was younger, like, I don't even know, I was less than 10 years old. And I don't know if this is particular drinking, but it kind of fits in that personality as you were when you were drinking. So I think it wasn't when you're at your peak, obviously, but I feel like this was exasperated through drinking. Was we were driving home one day, and
Oh God, I don't know that I
it
want
was
to hear
mom
this.
driving the car and you're in the passenger seat.
Uh-huh.
And there's a guy driving, and I don't know, he, I think, cut us off or something like that. And you got so angry, like just so beyond angry. And you're flipping him off, and
I don't know anything about that.
yeah, it was me and Logan in the back seat, and I was watching it happen, and it was one of those things where I was just scared. And that sticks in my head.
Yeah.
Just way long time ago.
I thought some things would come out today that would.
Yeah.
So I have no recollection of that, and so that's an example of how I affected you, and I'm clueless.
Yeah, and I was probably 7 years old or something like that.
So yeah,
And that's very vivid memory in my head.
So you had fear. I mean, that's a childhood memory
Yeah.
of.
And
How about as a teenager? What kind of feelings did you have? What emotions did you have as a teenager? I mean, were you depressed because do you think we could have had a closer relationship?
oh, 100%. I always say it felt you were always home, but I never saw you because you're in your room. It was a very distant relationship. Like, you came out to eat dinner, and that was about it. So I always felt like, I had a lot in my mind then, and I was wanting to talk to somebody, but I didn't have that. And we were homeschooled, and we lived in like a retirement community, and there wasn't a lot of kids my age I could go and talk with, So that's why I resorted to the online games and stuff. That's why I played just hours upon hours of games, because that's the only place where I could kind of escape to.
And here's truth. Okay, so what dealing and being in recovery and being sober, we learned that it's all about the reality, not fantasy world. And
Yeah.
part of the reality is that an alcoholic or an addict will accept anything that will support his addiction. So in my mind, I was thinking back then that, well, he's playing his games, and so I'm just going to go do my thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what you wanted at all.
Yeah.
You wanted us to spend. You probably still wanted to play some games, but you still
Yeah.
wanted us to have a better relationship, a closer relationship, and deep down I did too.
Yeah.
But I was addicted,
Yeah.
and I was addicted to. I had to drink.
So, this is one of those things that it's still something I struggle with the escaping to like the video games and stuff, because a little bit more background on me. I have a wife and a kid. I've been married for coming up 6 years now. December, it'll be 6 years. And my kid just turned two days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I still struggle sometimes when I get kind of in a down mood. I escape to video games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still a struggle I have till this day. Now I'm lucky. Layla, my wife, she helps me snap out of that. She helps me realize, be like, hey, you're spending too much time. Come spend time with the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm lucky to have her to snap me out of that and help me get out of that.
Yeah.
But that's still something I struggle with, where that is my escapism. So
Would you say so? You haven't drank or drugged ever?
nope.
So thank God for that.
I think the most I've ever done was an accidental sip of one of your drinks.
Yeah.
I did that once by
So
spitting it out.
do you think that is because I was an alcoholic?
It is
Because sometimes it could go. A lot of times it goes the other way around. The
Yeah.
other way, they become
Oh.
alcoholic because their parents were alcoholics.
Yeah. It is wholly in part for you and Philip that I don't do anything. So I guess even more background.
Yeah.
I have my oldest brother, is my mom had him at a young age, and his whole life pretty much as being grown, he struggled with drugs. And I'm sure alcohol in there too, but a lot of drugs. And this last November, he passed away from an overdose. But growing up and seeing him as well as you, it kind of cemented in my mind, I can't touch these things.
And we were drinking buddies,
Yeah.
and which, I'm not, it's I look back at it now, and it's like all the decisions I made, was just not present unless it had to do. I was very present if it had to do with drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. So this is another weird thing with it. Up until a few years ago, probably, I had a hatred towards alcohol. Like when Layla turned 21, I was telling her, is like, I don't want to be there if there's alcohol there, because I hated being around it. I hated the smell of it. And she helped me kind of realize that I need to. It's not the drink itself I need to hate. I need to hate the addiction.
Right.
And it's kind of helped me learn that, like, there are people out there that drink once a year. And I need to not get myself into a depression if I'm ever around people that are drinking once a year. Because I was getting angry. I was getting, like, very angry. I could not handle myself. Like,
You created an association with,
Yeah.
With
and she helped me realize it's the addiction that I need to be angry at.
Yeah, we say all the time, it's the disease, not the person.
Yeah.
Hate the disease, not the person. So
Yeah. So I was like, during my 21st birthday, obviously I wasn't drinking, but I went to the bowling alley with friends and ran out 2 lanes, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, I was actually with my flight instructor, and he was drinking while we were there, and I was like one of the first times I was able to like not get mad at him for drinking.
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what, it's fine. He's here to celebrate with me, and I need to not get mad at him for drinking.
Right. And there's plenty of people that aren't alcoholics.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people, we call them normies or earth people. But there's plenty of people who can just have a drink and they're fine. But I'm not that person.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like our relationship has improved since I got sober?
Well, I'm not as worried you're gonna die,
Yeah.
so that's nice. My mental health has definitely kind of been a little better. And I feel like I can actually talk to you about certain things and not, actually feel like I'm getting a real answer.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to actually like coming over here and knowing I'm not gonna hear something that's I don't want to hear, or you get angry for no reason. I mean that hasn't happened. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but there's been many times where I've come over here and we just get in like a screaming match for no reason.
Yeah, I know we got in one for sure over the dog.
Yeah, yeah.
The puppy, when she was a puppy. What's one of the biggest differences you see in me as sober dad and versus alcoholic, non-treated alcoholic dad? Besides physical, the obvious.
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is you actually remember things.
Yeah. Short-term memory loss.
Yeah, you're like, I'll tell you something and you actually remember it. That was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Was I guess that was one of those things where it's like I felt like I would talk to you, and like in my mind I was expecting you, it would just go in and go out, and you would never remember what I was actually telling you or asking you or anything, and now I don't feel that.
So all right, so it's been over 2 years. So I know that I had to rebuild trust with you.
Yes.
And rebuild confidence in our relationship. So how do you feel, like, coming from your perspective, how long do you think, what were you waiting? Were you like waiting for a specific amount of time of sobriety, or just watching my actions? What, from your perspective and building trust in our relationship, what did you think needed to happen?
It was actually it was very interesting, that, because it was actually probably a lot less time than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I saw such a drastic personality change very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was probably only a few months where like I saw you as a person change so dramatically that I was like, I don't want to get my hopes up here, but this seems like it's going to like this is going to stick this time. And you were doing everything. I mean, you're going to the meetings, you're going to church, and you're talking like somebody who really wanted to be sober, and you were never like that before.
I had to torch my old life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to start over at 55, and I finally got to a point where I was willing to do that. And I talk about it all the time in the meetings, because I go every day.
Yeah.
And I talk about it all the time. I hit the reset button, or I just had a redo, a mulligan, however
Yeah.
you want to say it. I had to set fire to that old life, and in a big part of that, a matter of fact, the base of that was my spiritual life,
Yeah.
and that's even when I was fighting that, God had a tremendous. I say tremendous. That's understating, but God was looking out for me and us and you and everybody, this whole family, right before I got sober, because I know you remember this, but see, I had gotten sober for 6 months, but I was going to one Celebrate Recovery meeting a week. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 months, 5 to 6 months later, I was at the beach working, and I found myself at a bar just that easy. And
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking. So I knew that I had to do more than that
Yeah.
because that wasn't enough. And right after that, I went to detox. And right after that, you came to me and you just happened to bump into a guy that we know. You were going to do some work for him, and he happens to have like over 30 years sobriety, and he goes to AA, and you got to talking about me, and then you came and gave me his number.
Yes. It was a chance encounter. It gets even weirder than that, though. So I used to own a detailing company, and I had a shop kind of thing. I worked out of like an RV storage unit kind of deal for a little while. He was the storage unit next to mine, and he just happened to see me working one day, came across and asked me, and about a week later, I'm cleaning his RV, I'm washing his RV. Well, while we're doing the walk around, I there's a license plate thing, a vanity plate kind of deal, where it's, I don't know, there's nothing on it that shows anything, but it's like a little symbol. I guess it is like a little triangle symbol thing. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have to, but I asked. I was like, "What does that mean?" And like, I don't really care. Like, I wouldn't have asked that normally.
Right.
Like, it doesn't matter to me what vanity plate somebody has, but just walk around, it just kind of struck me as it looked important, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I asked him what it was, and then that's when he started talking to me about his journey, and then I started talking about you, and that's when he gave me his card. And right after I was done for the day, and I messaged you or called you, or I said I need to come up here and drop something off to you, and it was his card. And yeah, it was just like, it's funny how it's like I get a shop right next to him, and I just so happen to ask about vanity plate, and like the chances of that meeting, like he didn't find me online or anything. It's just because I had a shop next to his, and I was there for a few months before he actually asked me. So it was
God had his hand in that.
Yeah.
For sure. And because I went to detox, I think that was before I went to detox, maybe. I can't remember now. But it was right in that same time frame. And then I went to detox for 4 days. And then when I got home, I called him and I went to AA for the first time. And I never stopped going.
It was like into May or something.
Yeah.
Where I was cleaning his.
Yeah, because I went June 1st to detox.
Yeah. Yeah.
And June 2nd is my sobriety date.
Yeah.
So, all right, that makes sense. So, well, I know we've been talking for quite a while. I have a feeling, this could be a series.
Yeah.
But we're just touching.
I got a lot more I could talk about.
I'm sure you do. And I was a little bit scared about today, actually. But so I do want to say this, that the only reason this is healing for us too, but we know that this is an epidemic, and we have tons of parents out there that are drinking. You think you're hiding it. Our kids are watching, I still have, full disclosure, I still have 2 kids right now that will not talk to me after 2 years of sobriety.
Yep.
And so I'm very thankful that Devin and my other daughter, did bring me back into their lives. And but full disclosure, I still got a lot of work to do, and I will always have work to do. But I still have two kids right now that won't talk to me. So this video, we wanted to have this conversation, and we'll have others, I'm sure, just to know that, I've said sorry 1,000 times to my family, but what it took was working the steps of AA. See, before I go into that, I want to say this, that God did take away my obsession to drink when I asked him, and I was willing to accept it. But it's the steps of AA that keeps my head straight. So it's a combination of three things. I always say it. It's spiritual. It's God in my life. He took that obsession away, and God, I needed that. And the steps that I work in recovery keep my head on straight. And then the company I keep, the people I hang around today are the people who live the life I want to live, and that's a sober life. So, but working the steps, I knew that I had to make amends, and that is much different than just saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's what can I do to help restore this relationship? So what would you think that I need to do living amends? What is it that I can do to help restore this?
Well, I think it's always been for me at least, it's always just been a keeping the promises.
Mm-hmm.
There's, obviously been a lot of promises that weren't kept way long time ago, and it's just one of those keeping the promises. That's that, and I'm sure it's different for other people, but for me that was a big one. And that a lot of it was just admission. I want to kind of go back to when you're asking me if when I kind of when I saw the difference, I guess this time being sober than the last one, was because you actually said you're an alcoholic. I don't think any other time before that you actually said
I didn't want to admit that. No.
So that was the admission of being an alcoholic and keeping your promises. Those were big for me.
Well, I'm sure we're gonna have more of these conversations, and I like this a lot.
Yeah.
And again, it's just great. The more we can talk, the better.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I love you.
Yeah, love you too.
And I'm so thankful and grateful for our life today and our relationship today. And I really mean that. And I'm grateful that you gave me a second chance.
Yeah.
So, and I have to go to the bathroom, so we need to wind this up.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, man.
Yeah, love you.